This is for people that don't know. This is Roger Marzano. Roger is a certified prosthetist, orthotist, and pedorthist. And Roger, you've spoken and attended several lerEXPO events, correct?
Yep, sure have.
I'm just wondering what your experience has been, both as a speaker and as an attendee.
Good question, Rich. I think that there's, pros and cons to any meeting that was formally held, maybe, together in a program with 300 people versus, doing these online platforms that the pandemic has forced us into. But through this process, also attending many other Zoom meetings and other association meetings, what I've learned is one of the things that's valuable about your platform is the ability for me as a attendee. You're sitting in the room and a question comes to your mind 5 minutes into the guy's presentation or girl's presentation. Well, you have to basically shelve that question, if I can remember it, to the end of the meeting or to the end of this talk, and then hopefully capture time to be able to get a question in and answer it. With your platform, the LER platform, I can literally type a question in as soon as it comes to me. And then at your end of his talk, you're reviewing all those questions and comments. So I know I'm going to be addressed in some fashion, and my question is going to get answered, and I can remember the question right then and there and don't have to think about it till the end of the meeting. So that happens because of this online platform, which wouldn't happen if I were attending the conference. Many times these conferences are across the country or, in other areas, and travel is more difficult now. Getting away from work is more difficult now. For me to be able to do something, you often offer meetings in the evenings. That's valuable to me because I have a busy life in my clinical practice, and I love being able to come home from work, jumping on a meeting about clubfoot at 6 o'clock at night with people from across the world. I'm talking about speakers that are, you have a good network of the speakers that you harness together with these programs. So, I'm listening to a authority on clubfoot that I would never be able to listen to, whether it was live or not, because there's no way I could go to all these programs that are available out there. So I can pick and choose the meetings that I want to be with, things that are interesting to me. And I can also network almost similarly in the same way with the chat room that you provide with each talk. I have connected with people through the LER platform talks that I haven't seen in 20 years, but they'll say hi to me or send me a wave, and I'm able to interact with them that I may not have even done if we were in a 500 attendee meeting, and I may never even see that person. But because I see their name on the list of the people in attendance, it spurs me to communicate with people and rekindle some of my friendships and associates from years ago. There's just so many, and for instance, the No Nonsense seminar that we were all just part of, that was neat to see. There was 513 people watching the talk. Well, maybe they had it up on their computer, whether they were watching or not. But interestingly enough, through that, we had a lot of interaction and a lot of topics and a lot of questions and a lot of just comments. And I love reading people's comments about a talk that I give. I'm very motivated to make sure my lectures are at the top of their game and that are important, and I covered it in the way that they need to hear it. And so consequently, I can get that instant feedback from those people. I can actually watch their comments as I'm presenting, and that's valuable. That means a lot to me because I can modify a talk based upon the audience or based upon a comment that I may make that spurs 5 questions. Well, then I may go along that line and just modify my talk to be sure that I'm contributing to what the people want to hear. So I love the instant feedback. Believe me, I'm a social animal. I'd love to come up and shake your hand and give you a hug, but this is as good as it gets right now. And I've traveled so much in my career in the past that I don't enjoy airports anymore. I don't enjoy it. I've seen the hotel rooms. I've been to the conferences. I've been to the big cities. I enjoy popping online on a Sunday, gaining credit hours for my CEUs in a very cost-effective platform. And I've been able to get CEUs much less expensively because of the LER platform than I have by, going through other associations or organizations that still charge almost the same for an online presence as they do for a live presence. So consequently, this is also cost effective for me. And the topics are varied enough that it was interesting at the no nonsense meeting we had, that there was actually orthotist prosthetists that signed up for that program and not podiatrists. Although many of the talks were surgically oriented and stuff that orthotist prosthetist may not be interested in, but certainly every one of the talks were valuable to me. And even though I was just an attendee, a speaker there, I watched probably 2/3 of the lectures so that I can stay on top of my game about foot and ankle issues and what's being done surgically and what's the new potion for wounds and what's the new theory on offloading. And it's great to network and see these people come on board. And it's just so, I'm signed up for a program this Thursday evening on orthotics. So that stuff's very interesting to me. And I think that I'm never done learning. And I think LER platform has given me another vehicle to use that is cost effective, can stay in the privacy of my home. I don't have to, travel places, and I can do it far more economically.
In a few short words, you've never been to an lerEXPO event. Tell somebody what they need to know about an lerEXPO event.
I always tell people that you don't miss what you never had. So what I mean by that is if you haven't experienced something, you're not going to perceive it as you're missing it. You're missing out on this. And I wasn't a big online guy because I'm a social butterfly. I'm 62 years old. I don't, always spend all my time on the computer. And so it opened my eyes to a new way of learning and networking. I'm a networking guy. That's what I do. And I've networked better through the LER platform, whether the topic isn't at a peak of my interest, or I may only see 10% of that clubfoot population. It allows me to expand and know on a national level what's being done. So I know what type of devices California is getting, what type of things they're doing in Chicago and New York City, because the speakers are so diverse. So I think it allows a greater degree of diversification in the speakers. It gives me a wider viewpoint of a topic that I didn't consider, that I wasn't aware of. And if I never would have signed up for one or even took your interest and said, hey, Raj, try this out once and see, I had no concept of what I was missing. And I think I've probably been on as many of these as some of your other people through the 2 years of you doing this. So my statement is you don't miss what you never had, but once you get a taste of it, you never want to go back. So I got to tell you, this is going to be my new avenue of learning for my career. And I hope LER continues to do this for a lot of years, because I think this is only going to grow and it's only going to even get better if that's possible.
What's your experience like going into the exhibit hall, the online marketplace?
I get to see products quicker by going through that than I would staying in my office, having salespeople call on me or looking for something online that you don't necessarily know what's there and is it true? Where if you go to your marketplace, these are real businesses that are in business somewhere that are, ready to have you as a customer. They're interested in being in that marketplace. So it's a much better engagement with those people and those businesses than there is some sales rep knocking on my door, because I can go in it when I want to go in it. I can look at it when I want to look at it, and I can perceive it the way I want to perceive it without external influences and do it on my own time. So it's phenomenal.